Hey, before we get to Greenville, so as I looked at your schedule, you mentioned the conference tournament being so critical. So let's camp out there for a second. So the first, like obviously you guys had gone super deep in 23's Valley tournament, and you're kind of like loaded for bear in 24. Like you guys are ready. You're hosting, you've got a good team, you got an old team. You guys had a tough start to the season. Sometimes I think that really helps. It's like the most dangerous teams are the teams that kind of saw themselves die and then lived to tell about it. And you guys were that. Um, in the first 3 games of the Valley tournament, you just roll. I mean, I think you guys scored like 40 runs, and
Yeah.
I didn't see a close game in the bunch. But now you got to play Indiana State, and that game looked really. I think you guys scored 2 runs late to kind of clinch it. But what do you remember about that game, the title game with Indiana State?
Well, I remember that entire week. If you look at that, game one of the tournament, Illinois State was up 6-0 on us.
Oh, wow.
They kind of punched Kenton Deverham in the mouth, and then our offense just kind of was able to get in a groove and kind of took off. But some things have to kind of go your way. And if you look at Southern Illinois, beating Indiana State kind of put us in the driver's seat where we knew Indiana State had to come back and beat us twice. Whereas the year before, we had to come back and beat Indiana State twice. And that's so, challenging to do on somebody's home field. So we knew that we were in that position. Also, I mean, Indiana State was in the mix for hosting, which I believe they should have hosted an NCAA regional. So they were still fighting and clawing their way to get as deep as they could so that they could host. So being able to have that set up on Saturday on our home field, knowing, this was it. And that was kind of my mindset through the entire year as far as getting the conference tournament. If we can't do it this year, then when in the heck are we going to be able to do it as a program? And that's when our players, and I put all the credit on them, our student athletes did an unbelievable job of just handling every situation and a little bit of adversity. And then our assistant coaches worked extremely hard to get prepared. The amount of time and effort a lot of assistant coaches around this country put in into making sure they can get their players ready to compete at that level. I feel like we were really very fortunate to have assistant coaches that really bought in and cared and put all the time and energy into it. And so setting up for that big Saturday, packed house, under the lights with German American Bank sign lit up bright, for us to be able to go and turn that double play and just witness our student athletes dogpile is something that I will always cherish and always remember as my single best memory, core memory, being able to be made in front of my family, my brother, Coach Brownlee, having all of our alums around really is something that I will cherish and really continue to try to build to do that again. That's how great of a feeling it really was.
That's awesome. What about what's a more like what's more memorable for you, Wes, as far as like that last out against Indiana State where you're going to the NCAA tournament, or the like gathering your team to watch the selection show because you're going to be in, or something in between? I'm sure you're getting texts and phone calls the whole time. What, like, that's probably like a 48-hour period. Yeah. What do you remember about those 48 hours?
It's one big fog, no doubt, that I'm still processing. But just being able to celebrate with our assistant coaches on the field, in the dugout, right as it was happening, but also, having my son along for the ride. He was, 17 years old. He's kind of navigating his baseball career, and having him in the dugout and around, as well as my nephew Cole, Jamie's son, just having them experience that with us as well. But then on the field afterwards, just seeing all the family, all the alums, all the supporters, and so many people behind the scenes throughout the entire year in this community really worked hard to be able to put on a Missouri Valley Conference tournament, including our athletic department. And so that just meant a lot for me, that they had joy, they had happiness, and just the big celebration through that entire night with so many impactful former student athletes that helped get us to this point, I think is a great core memory. And then, with the selection show, just so unique as you go through that process, you have no clue. And so being able to have a bucket list, the jungle kind of on your bucket list, being able to have that as your destination was really unique. It truly was. And so just an overall unbelievable experience. And I'm really proud of the direction and how we took steps from 2018 to then culminate in a 2024 championship in a run with an unbelievable group of young men.
That's awesome. All right, so you guys go to Greenville, and like you mentioned, the jungle. It's one of the great environments in college baseball, and
Mhm.
East Carolina, truly the best program we have that has just not quite gotten themselves to Omaha yet, and it's just a matter of time. But the other, like, let's not miss the other part of the story is that VCU's in the regional with you, and that's an outstanding
Yeah.
baseball program.
Yes,
But
it is.
Wake Forest is there as the 2 seed with 3 first-round picks on one college team. They had 3 first-rounders on a singular college team, and now you guys didn't face them. But that regional, obviously, I'm in the studio. We're doing squeeze play, and the Greenville regional gets turned inside out from the jump.
Yeah.
You guys upset East Carolina. VCU upsets Wake Forest,
Yeah.
and then we've got Wake Forest and ECU playing in the 0101 game on Saturday morning. So let me overview it. So you guys beat ECU, then you beat VCU.
Mhm.
ECU comes back to the losers bracket and beats you
Yeah.
guys up pretty good in that game.
Mhm.
And now you've got to play one game for a super regional. So what I really am interested in, Wes, is like what are your big memories from those 4 games? But yeah, go wherever you want with this.
Yeah, as we get down there, we're playing with just house money. I think Mark Schallenberger, who's so articulate, did a great job in post game interviews. Really, just sitting there saying, the pressure and who it's on. It clearly
Yep.
was not on us. I was extremely confident that we had a talented club, but here we are in uncharted waters. First time since 06, kind of going to a regional, and you're just going to go and play loose like aces have been over the past couple months. And so, there's a lot of bulletin board material, easy to kind of low hanging fruit that you can utilize to get your guys motivated. As some of the coaches didn't even know who our coaching staff was, so there's definitely easy motivation through that. But also some things had to go our way. If you look, 2 of the most talented pitchers in the entire country, Yasevich and Burns, didn't throw day 1. And when opportunities like that pop up, we took advantage of it, and VCU took advantage of it as well. And so kind of seeing that unfold, Kenton Deverman pitches the game of his life against such a talented offensive lineup in ECU. And then we kind of roll into VCU, where we were just a great matchup with Donovan Schultz against their offense. And, their pitching, we were able to score 18 runs in a regional. I think that really says a lot. And, it got a little close because we're trying to save some arms for the situation that we were in. But we were able to hold on. And then if you fast forward, just the energy of the crowd of ECU, they won a really kind of a walk-off game against Wake Forest. And here we are waiting down the right field line, take the field,
Right.
not knowing who we're playing. We knew they were going to have momentum and it kind of carry. And we had earned an opportunity to be in a position where they had to come back and beat us twice with our offensive club. I knew the bullets that we had on the mound. We got to a point in the 7th inning where the game was it was closer than what we think. If we get a goose egg there, maybe our offense can kind of win it on that Sunday. However, we do not kind of punt to make sure that we're ready to go on Monday. You show up on Monday, and it's kind of a strange day because it's raining. We're the home team, which is always weird. We're the home team, and we go take BP, indoors, and we got about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm like, oh gosh, they're getting ready to open up the jungle. They're going to come in. What are my student athletes doing? I'm really concerned. Like, is now the pressure going to kind of fit on them? Because I woke up that morning extremely optimistic. I believe we were winning since the moment I woke up, or if I even slept, but just had that overall confidence and belief. And so I'm a little concerned now about where my student athletes are. Well, I go and they're behind the dugout in the pitching lab, just having the time of their life. And just the roar and what they were doing, just really connecting with one another. If that was our last ride together, they were loose. And I was like, close the door. I was like, we're going to be fine. We were going to be fine. Now, I did think it was going to be a high scoring game. And next thing you know, it kind of turns into a little bit of a pitching battle. But then Mark Schallenberger delivering a barrel, for a 3-run home run to give us the lead late in that game. Something that I will always remember as because what Mark Schallenberger represents and who he is as a person and what he's done since he stepped foot on campus. It was great to have him really deliver for us.
That's awesome. And again, 9th, you guys win that game 6-5. You take East Carolina's best shot. In no way did East Carolina fumble this away. You guys just beat them. It was awesome to watch. And, you become the 9th 4 seed ever out of 400 to win a regional, and now you're going to Knoxville, which is, that's the number one team in the land, and they are on this 4-year run that is just insane. I would imagine was there more excitement the week before the Greenville weekend, or was there more excitement around the program as you guys were getting ready to head to Knoxville?
Definitely leading up to the regional, just because it was a quick turnaround. Our travel was really tricky from Greenville back home and then busing to Knoxville, and everything just kind of sped up. It really did, but in a good way. Our community, having police escort come back into town and just seeing all the support, the university, it just meant a lot. And I'm trying not to get emotional, but just thinking back to that time was truly remarkable. And just how you see on social media, just the growth, because we were kind of in a bubble. I was trying to keep our team kind of in a bubble, but then you start seeing the impact it's making, being the 9th team to ever do something. But then also just knowing how talented our club was and how well we were playing at that time. And so trying to keep our guys focused and being prepared, but then also understanding just the mountain we had to climb as we got into Knoxville against, hands down, one of the most talented offenses I've ever seen, and what the pitchers were able to do. I knew they were going to have an opportunity to go win a national championship after that weekend.
Yep. I didn't think about this until you just spoke, Wes, but you guys got sent to the jungle, and then Knoxville needs to have a nickname that has the word jungle in it. That place is no picnic. And so, so let's just talk about this. So you guys, obviously Tennessee wins that super regional and they go on to win the national title, but it was eventful. The first game, they beat you guys 11-6, but I thought the 6 runs were telling.
Yeah.
Watching that, it was okay, Tennessee won this game, but Evansville didn't just melt. You guys were competitive in that game. And then game 2, but Tennessee overcame it and they won.
Okay.
And then game 2 starts, and I think you're the home team, and Tennessee homers 3 times in the first inning. And we're watching this and we're thinking, okay, well, we just hope that it doesn't go so badly that Evansville's incredible run gets washed away with some blowout. And so you give up the 3 home runs, and it's that's Tennessee's, that's their special recipe, right? And you guys win the game. I can imagine some people turned that game off and tuned in later and I'm sorry, what does that score say? So what did you experience? And you can go wherever you want, Wes, but game 2 is really interesting to me.
Yeah, I'll start on Friday. I feel like it was a different atmosphere. It was a different stage. And I'll start with myself. I was trying to keep our guys loose, but our dugout wasn't engaged. And that game was a lot closer than what the kind of score indicated. I feel like we made a really good pitch and that didn't go our way. The next pitch goes up top for a 3-run home run to kind of get it and extend it, as we were an 8-6 ball game. And we're having good at-bats. We really were. And so as we go into Saturday, we were extremely loose. It was one of those where kind of like the Monday at ECU, where our guys were okay, we know what this felt like or whatnot. Let's go out there and just see what happens. Not even focusing on Sunday, just kind of seeing what happens. Pulling your starter in the second inning of an elimination game against one of the best offenses that I've ever seen. Obviously, you're thinking to yourself, okay, we're going to have to score maybe 21 today, but that's just me being full disclosure in the situation. But then Jacob Meyer comes out of the pen for us and puts up a couple goose eggs just to get our offense a chance to breathe. Yeah. And then in that 4th, 5th, and 6th inning, the at-bats that we had just stacked on top of each other is one of the most impressive things. And I can't believe it happened kind of situation. However, I can, because of the moxie of our group, because we were old. If you look at it, we were old and not a lot kind of phased them. And for them to have those at-bats and for us to take a lead, and then Brendan Horde extend that lead with a 2-run home run that I don't know if the ball's landed yet, was truly remarkable. Gave us enough cushion to hold on. What it took there to finish that game out was a Christian Moore, bases loaded.
That's right.
It felt like 100 pitch at bat, where then he finally popped up somehow. One of the best college hitters I've ever seen, that I think that this game has ever seen. To get him to pop up for what the effort of Shane Harris did. And then that night was hands down my favorite memory of it all. Being the first team in program or in NCAA history to beat the first number 4 seed to ever beat a number 1 national seed. Something that,
Wow.
hopefully that we'll hold on to for a long time. But that night, what it really hit me is, getting on the bus and going back to the hotel and seeing Coach Brownlee, being the first guy I see off the bus, extremely emotional. And it kind of prepared me for that night. All of our supporters, alumni, fans, friends of the program, in the Marriott, in the lobby, just the overall pride that we had, and being connected to the University of Evansville is a night that I will never forget. And so, that's a great story just from a standpoint of how impactful the moment was and what our team was doing, how it impacted so much of our community, tri-state area, but then also on social media, seeing United States colored purple, being America's team for 48 hours, so to speak, was humbling, and emotional and stressful as well. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And like I've said, like, are more stressful than coaching in Omaha because, in Omaha, in many ways, there's no bad season that ends in Omaha. Like
Right.
you've done it, right?